Hey guys, Seshwangaming here. Welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Duel. So, in the last episodes, I said I'd be coming on to Fusion in the next video and explaining what the three different types of cubes you get in the game do. So let's click on the Fusion at the bottom and we'll see this screen. Now, a lot of people ask, or have been asking, what do I do with my extra figures that I don't use? Because you only have so many slots for figures, and you can buy more. I'll show you how to do that. But if you don't, and to buy them you spend gems. You don't need money for that. You spend gems. But because gems are so precious, you might have a lot of figures that you don't actually need to use. So the best thing to do with them is fuse them for XP. There is one more thing you can do with them, which if we go to the shop and we go to exchange coins, you can sell your figures for coins here. So that's 232, 232, and obviously the more rare the Pokemon, the more coins you would get for them. And if you notice, some can't be selected because they have the padlock, which I explained how to lock figures in the previous video. So this happens to also be where you exchange the gold cubes for coins. So if we start with what do the three cubes do, the first cube are the yellow cubes, and they're sold in the shop for coins. If we go back to the Fusion tab, we're not going to use this yellow one for Fusion, because if I was to select a Pokemon, we'll take Bidoof. If I was to fuse the yellow ingot, I think, yeah, ingots, that's what they're called, then I'll only get 1 out of 100 towards leveling him up, which is no good. So the yellow ones are to get coins. Now the next thing you'll notice is if I wanted to fuse a Pokemon, so this Raticate, into the Bidoof, it costs me 329 coins, and that's may not seem like a lot of coins, but if you have a look how much it would take to fuse something into my Zapdos, let's say this thing, 5,653 coins that's going to cost. So, and you can see there that Zapdos needs 80,000 XP to get to level 5. So this stuff starts to add up. So it's good getting the yellow ingots, because you will need the coins as you start to level your Pokemon up. The next cube we'll look at are the blue ones. Oh, before I move on, you can get different grades of cubes. So this yellow one here is common. You can see that it's got the C for common, and there's just, you can get common, uncommon, rare, and EX, and as you go up in that order you get more for them. So an EX gold cube, I think you get 35,000 coins, which is loads. So with the blue cubes, which are for EXP, you can see that the blue bar on the left moved up, and it now says 175 out of 1,000. If I click on the blue cube again to remove it, you can see at the moment Bidoof is level 1 and it's got 0 of 100. So this cube will give it 500 XP, which would take it to level 2, and it would also get a bit of the level 3 bar done, working towards level 3. So it would need to get up to 1,000 now to get to level 3. But you can also fuse Pokemon to get experience as well as the blue cubes. And so if we did enough, we'd get to level 3 there, like so. Now I'll show you, I am actually going to use the blue cubes that I've got. So if I select all the blue cubes that I've got, and that is enough to take it up to the next level. So I'm not going to bother fusing any Pokemon in, I'm just going to fuse these 2 cubes. So we hit the fusion button and it will cost 1,562 coins. And now it's leveled up. When you level a Pokemon up, you get to change the size of a move on the disc. And if you're not sure what the best move to expand is, you can click the recommend button and it will tell you which one. So this is actually recommending that I expand Fairy Mist, but really it's this Geomancy I want to expand. So you just go to the move and then click the plus. Now, a useful thing to know is, say next time I want to level up Fairy Mist and I've decided actually I want to take this point away from Geomancy. You can do that. So when he levels up again, I can just come round to this move and press minus, and it will take the point away. Then I could go around to Fairy Mist and add both points to that. Now, once you get to level 5, obviously your Pokemon don't level up anymore, so that is where you can reallocate them, but it will cost you gems to do so. The green cube. Now, the green cube is the only one where it matters what rarity the Pokemon is. So these green cubes that I've got loads of here, they're all common, so they have to be fused with a common Pokemon. If we scroll further down, this green cube is here is uncommon, so it will be fused into uncommon Pokemon and so forth. And I actually have 3 rare green cubes saved up because I haven't decided who I want to put them on yet. And the reason I've saved so many common ones is because I'm trying to get a Wartortle to do the Blastoise evolution. And I'll go on to why I want to do that in another video when I'm talking about strategies and what I actually want my deck to end up being compared to what it is at the moment. So I can burn one of these to just give you an example, or we don't even really need to do that. So if we take Tyrogue here, you can see the sea level says 0 of 30. If we were to fuse one green cube, it would say 1 of 30. So as you can see, you're going to need an awful lot of green cubes to level this up. Now, there's only 2 ways to actually get this green bar leveled up. One is with these green cubes. The other one is to have 2 copies of Tyrogue and fuse them together. So your duplicates. Now, when you get up to these EX, so as you go up in rarity, you see the common needed 30. If we go to an uncommon Pokemon like Bulbasaur, Bulbasaur only needs 9 green cubes, 9 green cubes to get to the next sea level. And when you get all the way down to EX figures, they only need 1. So if you have 2 EX figures that are identical, so if I have 2 Zapdos, I could fuse them together and I would instantly get a sea level increase. Now, that's really where a lot of what you want to do with your deck and what you're trying to achieve and taking all factors into account comes into play, because if you have 2 Zapdos, it might actually be better to use both of them in a deck than to fuse them together. And so before you rush into doing anything like that, I would take some strong considerations, and perhaps in a future video, if there's a demand for it, I'll go into the factors that you should look into really in a lot of detail before doing that. But obviously, again, it is going to come down to a case-by-case basis, and some of it is not just going to be purely strategy based. It's going to be how you prefer to play, and what you actually want in your deck, and a lot of it's personal opinion. And a lot of the tips and advice that I'm going to give on this channel, they're just from my experience. It's not to say this is the only way you can do things and this is the best way to do them. This is just what I've found to work, and it's very useful to have discussion about things that you may have overlooked or not understood. So always bear that in mind. But I have got a Squirtle who I'm not using right now, but I have used him at high levels and he does serve a purpose. And if I do get a Wartortle, I would consider using the full Blastoise evolution. Squirtle to Wartortle to Blastoise. Now you can see this says 8 out of 9. And I have 1 uncommon green cube. And that would push the level up to 1. So I'm going to show you what happens when you actually fill the green bar and hit fusion. Your sea level goes up and you get 1 point that's kind of green, but it looks a bit bluey or turquoise. Anyway, the sea level, this doesn't let you change the size of the discs, the moves on the disc. This lets you change the damage. So again, it will have a recommend, but in this case there's only one move with damage, and that's Bubble, and it will boost it up 1 point. Now, the reason these take so long to get the 1 point is because this makes a huge difference, and when you start to get up to higher ranks and face higher ranked players, they will have squads where they have, like Greninja for example. Let's go to Greninja and have a look at his wheel. Greninja has got this Water Shuriken move, and it's a really big gold move, but it only does 20 times the number of times you land on it. But having that as 21 is absolutely essential, because then if you spin it once, you will beat any Pokemon that spins a 20. If you spin it twice, you'll beat any Pokemon that has a 40. 3 times a 60, and so on. That 1 point of difference makes all the difference in a mirror matchup with the same Pokemon, or any Pokemon that's got the same damage move. If you get any ties, you're going to win now because you have the extra point. So that's what the 3 cubes do, guys. If you've got any more follow-up questions on that, then don't hesitate to give me a shout. What I would personally recommend is, if you don't have something you want to use those cubes on, save them until you know for sure or for certain what you're trying to achieve with your deck. That would probably be my best advice on that front. Now, I did mention before about expanding your figures, because if you do save these cubes, you're going to use up a lot of slots. Now, if you do want to expand your amount of slots you're allowed, you can see at the top left of the screen mine says 54 out of 54 at the minute. I'm actually allowed 60, so I can have 6 more figures or cubes in this section, but you can get more. So if you go back to this menu screen that I mentioned in a previous video, and these four blue things, 4 blue rectangles, these buttons are quite useful for a lot of things, as you'll see. So if I click on view figures, there's a little expand box in the top right with a plus. Now you click that and it will ask you, do you want to spend 10 gems or rubies, whatever you want to call them, to increase your figure case by 10? And no, I don't in this instance. I will do a bit of clearing up of mine with things I don't need. But that's how you do that, guys, and you can do the same thing for plates here. So it's useful to have a look on these. I would recommend that everyone has a look on these 4 blue buttons just to see what's there and what you can do, because there's stuff hidden away in there. And I guess one more thing before I end this part of the video is I just noticed I have 2 Leafeons. So this will be another example here where you could see fusing them, the green bar goes up to 1 out of 3. And also you get the EXP off the Pokemon as well, which obviously when you're using a green cube you don't get. So now if I was to add 2 of these green cubes, it would be enough to let C level up the Leafeon. But as it happens, I am not planning on doing that, because I'm not sure whether I want to use Leafeon in a deck yet, and I might want to have 2 just because of its effect. Because it has this thing where it can move through grass type Pokemon. So if I have more grass Pokemon, I can move through my own, which may come in useful and may not. I'm not too sure about that yet. If you like the video, guys, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to keep seeing some videos to come, subscribe to the channel, and you can stay up to date with the content, which I'm trying to put out regularly at the moment. And I know there are people that want to see some in-game strategy and gameplay and things such as how to use Shuppet effectively or more efficiently in the mid-game, not just for the Shuppet cheese win. And I will definitely be doing videos on those sort of subjects and those sort of guides. Thanks again, guys. Keep playing, keep practicing, and keep watching. Cheers.